We are Team Terra, and we will be providing the technical details for the real-time benefits check for the sponsor United Health Group. Presenting today will be Thayer Altman and Alex Abramov. We will be continuing the work previously done by United Health Group. Their existing implementations in Cerner and Allscripts consisted of a launch button to bring up the PreCheck MyScript application, which provided patient and prescription details to the EHR user. Their work involved the usage of Unity APIs, which took the place of FHIR Authentication Server, as well as other FHIR APIs. Our work will no longer require the Unity authentication and will strictly use a FHIR and CDS hook implementation to provide the details in our application. The goal of our app is to seamlessly integrate with their existing EHR provider such that no manual launching is required. United Health Group's previous implementation came close to meeting their needs. However, the absence of FHIR rights prevented them from a pure FHIR implementation. Additionally, the manual launch mechanism will be replaced by the usage of CDS hooks and will result in seamless application transition. With our implementation, we hope to address the limitations that the proof of concept brought to light and add the missing functionality in order to make it into a viable product.
Clinical Decision Hook, or CDS hook, provides the ability for an application to respond to specific decisions within an EHR platform. The application responds to these hooks with contextual information based on that specific decision from the EHR. The current state of the art consists of medication prescribe, patient review, and order review. For our application, we'll be utilizing the medication prescribe hook, which describes the set of medications that are currently proposed or being prescribed to the patient. Our application will take this data and use it to pull a database of medication pricing, such that we can display the current price versus what a generic might offer. The protocol is JSON-based, as I will describe in the next two slides. Here's a snippet of a CDS hook request object. It contains contextual information about the patient as well as a unique identifier code for the medication. There is also information about dosage, timing, brand name, and other things of use to a provider. The corresponding response object for the previous request. The responses are sent in a card object that can be used for display purposes. In this specific case, there is information about generic alternatives, suggestions for what to do, and also information about dosage, timing, and brand name of any suggested generic.
This diagram represents the high-level architecture of our application and how it will communicate with the associated services. Our application will respond to CDS hooks provided by the United Health Group's EHR platform. It will then authenticate against an authentication service and use the contextual information contained within that CDS hook to query the FHIR server and associated database to retrieve the medication details, including pricing and potential generic alternatives. Our next slide goes into much greater detail of this communication. As stated, before our application will receive a CDS hook. This sequence diagram shows the flow of events from the medication prescribed hook from the United Health Group's EHR to our application. After retrieving the appropriate information, our application will carry out the appropriate tasks of providing prescription drug pricing. At this time, the user will be able to continue their work within the United Health Group's EHR platform.
Our implementation will consist of a C# or Java application utilizing the Smart on FHIR framework. To perform a FHIR communication, we will use a third-party library providing support for the DSTU3 standard. We will use a FHIR server containing marked patient data as a test bed. This will be provided by the HTAP server with the goal of it being replaced in a real production environment. As mentioned before, we will be using CDS hooks to achieve the application's launching mechanism. As far as infrastructure, we will be using Docker to have a consistent deployment environment, as well as using Git as our version control system. To update our progress, we are in the process of setting up our deployment environments and finalizing our architecture. We have identified some things that we think might be risks and are taking the necessary steps to resolve them by communicating with the project sponsors. The full Gantt chart is available at the provided link below.